The IT industry, the lifeblood of our modern world, the miracle workers who keep our devices running, our networks connected, and our data safe. From our smartphones to the systems running our cities, IT professionals are the silent heroes that keep the wheels turning. But beneath the veneer of tech wizardry and the promise of high salaries lies a dark side. A side that is often kept in the shadows, not spoken of in glossy tech magazines or corporate webinars. Today, we're pulling back the curtain and exposing the hidden realities of the IT industry. The burnout, the constant pressure, the unethical practices, and the myths that keep many trapped in an endless cycle of stress. This is not just another tech story, this is a story about the human cost behind the digital world. Let's start with burnout, the silent epidemic of the IT world. Many people envision tech jobs as cushy positions with beanbags, game rooms, and flexible work-from-home schedules. But the truth is, many IT professionals work grueling hours with constant on-call requirements that turn weekends and holidays into just more workdays. You're expected to troubleshoot emergencies at 3 a.m. to always be on your game, to be the fixer whenever technology decides to fail. The IT industry demands dedication, but in many cases, that dedication comes at the cost of personal well-being. Sleep deprivation, anxiety, and stress become constant companions. The pressure to perform at a high level, all while trying to keep up with new certifications and technologies, is exhausting. It's no wonder that burnout rates among IT professionals are some of the highest in any industry. This burnout is exacerbated by a toxic expectation that's embedded deep in IT culture. The need to constantly be available, constantly learning, and constantly problem-solving, often without proper compensation or recognition. Many IT specialists are caught in a cycle where they are expected to perform miracles with outdated hardware, insufficient budgets, and unrealistic timelines. And when things go wrong, it's the tech support team that shoulders the blame, not the decision makers who cut corners in the first place. Then there's the myth of the job security in IT. Sure, tech skills are in demand, but this demand often doesn't translate to security for individual employees. The reality is that the IT industry is fraught with layoffs and outsourcing. Entire IT departments can be replaced overnight by cheaper offshore services. Professionals who've poured years into perfecting their craft can find themselves laid off at a moment's notice, replaced by a more cost-effective solution that often doesn't take into account the quality or long-term reliability of the work being done. Job security is an illusion in an industry that thrives on cutting costs, and employees often end up being the first casualty of this relentless pursuit of profit. Let's not forget the ethical dilemmas. IT professionals are often caught in the crossfire between what's right for the user and what's profitable for the company. It's not uncommon to see practices like collecting massive amounts of user data without clear consent, or cutting corners on security to push products faster to market. The moral challenges faced by those in IT are real. You're asked to turn a blind eye to privacy issues, to implement invasive surveillance tools, or to downplay the risks associated with data breaches. For many, this leads to a profound sense of disillusionment, because the tools they build or maintain are used in ways they never envisioned, or worse, in ways they find ethically troubling. And then there's the issue of diversity, or rather the lack of it. The IT industry loves to paint itself as progressive and forward-thinking, but a closer look reveals a different picture. Women, people of color, and other underrepresented groups face significant barriers to entry, and those who do make it often experience an unwelcoming work environment filled with subtle biases and outright discrimination. The so-called meritocracy of IT has often been just an excuse to ignore systemic biases and toxic cultures that push talented individuals out of the industry. Finally, we need to talk about the myth of meritocracy itself. In theory, IT is supposed to be all about skill. If you know your stuff, you'll succeed. But the truth is that networking, being in the right place at the right time, and sometimes just being lucky plays a huge role in career advancement. The endless certifications, the need to constantly prove yourself, and the expectation that you should be passionate enough to spend your free time coding, these are barriers that create an exclusive club often accessible only to those with the time, resources, and connections to keep up. The IT industry has an image problem. It markets itself as the dream, high pay, cool tech, endless opportunities. But the reality is far more complicated. It's an industry that demands everything from you while giving back far less than you might expect. It's an industry that can chew you up and spit you out if you're not careful, one where the human cost is hidden behind the facade of innovation and disruption. This isn't to say there aren't amazing opportunities in IT or that everyone working in the field is miserable, but it's important to pull back the curtain, to expose the less glamorous side of an industry that's become so deeply integrated into our lives. If you're considering a career in IT, go in with your eyes open. Understand that while the technology may be cool, the reality of working in IT involves late nights, thankless hours, and a constant uphill battle. The key to surviving and maybe even thriving in IT is to set boundaries, to be mindful of your mental health, and to find an environment that respects you as a person, not just a resource to be exploited.